I find sometimes that with people, with as in with a notion from constellations, is that sometimes the story themes that are going on for people are actually ancestral. And so as a animistic and shamanistically based person, I love always connecting with the ancestors to find out what's happening with you, and what are the themes that are up in the ancestral field. As well, I find that people often are very attached to an aspect of their story, and one way to observe it, especially as a practitioner that myself can kind of feel and sense energy, I would say follow the energy. So follow the story that has the magnetism in it for a person, and that those magnetic stories can be something that draw good to people, or it can be that they draw experiences that continue to recur for them. And sometimes what it creates for a client is that it's creating a looping story for them. The story has such a magnetic draw. Is one way to look at it, is that they're pulled into that story and become kind of trapped there as a result. So the discharge of energy within certain stories becomes necessary in my work. Also, I find that perhaps talking in stories, in parables, if you will, that those are the ways sometimes to reach people who are defended against change, even while they're seeking it.
Yeah, I relate.
Well, and it's different for different people too. And it's never about anything being wrong with them, that that's going on for them. That's just simply what's happening, from my particular view. So trying to find a story that might start to loosen things up for them, or give them another thing to think about. An observation from working in alternative healing would be sometimes people need to change their diet, just simply the food that they're eating. But if we take away things that they have been eating, then they become resistant or angry or irritated. But if we begin to add good things to their diet, add good stories to their diet, if you will, then it allows them at some point to begin to drop away the things that don't serve them anymore, that are constellating to them things that are not supportive to their life or their well-being. I think stories can be like that too, and have that effect. And I'm very fascinated by the power of bards and minstrels and people that would wander, much like perhaps the vulva in her stories and her songs, as she maybe would be traveling, the vulva being the seers and the prophet people and the changers of destiny from Norse and Germanic traditions. But that power of being able to shift emotional fields, to shift perspectives, and to the power of story when we use it in a way to support wholeness, thriving, and also maybe even a sense of nobility, a rising nobility. Those are places where I find story to be really helpful in my practice as well.